Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Thursday. What's up? Open panel. The link is pinned. Come on up if you want. In the meantime, we'll browse the news a little bit. I'll throw out a brain teaser. Let's see. Israel, Lebanon agree to ceasefire as Iran. What's the rest of the headline? Keeps straight gridlocked. Okay. The Pope says the world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants. He's not even American, is he? I was going to say he has freedom of speech and is entitled to his opinion, which I do believe, but I'm not sure he's under American freedom of speech laws. But I still think he can say what he wants, like give his opinion on things. Let me see what else is going on. That's about it. U.S. House rejects war powers resolution aimed at... Didn't they go through this already a few weeks ago? All right. Let's get a brain teaser. All right. Come on, machine. Why do you have to think to give me a brain teaser? Oh, wait, what? Oh, I think it gave away the answer. I need to get a different one. All right, this one's good. What can travel all around the world while staying in the same corner or the same place? There's the brain teaser for today. The news for today is not very new. There's also not much new for me to talk about. Really. Hang on, I'm playing with my other socials. Okay. How did you get that? Did you Google it? You are absolutely correct. It's a stamp. That was a easy, a short one too. Let me see if I can get a better one. Come on, Charles. What? No, something different. A longer one. Okay, it's thinking. Hang on, this one might be stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. I can't give it. It's too stupid to give. I have standards. You're Gen X. Maybe it is. You think it's a Gen X? Well, probably. How many kids mail letters these days? with stamps. It probably is Gen X. We were the last generation to actually use stamps. I remember you had to go. I remember you could go to the post office and buy a stamp to mail a letter, and then you would buy the rolled stamps that you keep in your desk, and they had the forever stamps. Hello, Arpole. I'm trying to find us a brain teaser. Oh, a stamp collection. I remember the different stamps. All right, give us a hard one, please. Otherwise, I'm going to Grok. Oh, okay, this is a math one. But you asked for a more challenging one, so here it is. Okay, a woman has 2 hourglasses. One measures 7 minutes, the other measures 11 minutes. And she wants to boil an egg for exactly 15 minutes. She can flip the hourglasses whenever she wants, but she cannot measure any other way. How can she do it? How can you get 15 minutes out of 7 and 11 minutes? There's a version of this with water, gallons of water. Because 2 sevens will give her 14. $11 will give her I'm assuming you can't just estimate like half an hourglass. That's what I'm saying though. I don't know if you can do a halfway thing. Because hang on. Because if you run 7 minutes, if you run them both at the same time, when the 7-minute one is finished, you could turn the 11 one, or at least turn it on its side, and the remaining portion is going to be 4 minutes. Is that what? Oh, no, that wouldn't work either. Because you could get. No, that wouldn't work. Well, she wants it exactly 15 minutes. So it's 11 and 4. We got to find a way to get the 4 minutes and add it to the 11, which we can, but we can only do it within the 11-minute hourglass. Or the 2 7 minutes will give us 14, but how do you get that extra minute? I'm thinking it's that 11 and 4, if there's a way to get 4. Oh, you give up? I've done these kind before. I just can't work out this number, how to get the extra minute. Or how to take those 4 minutes and do something with those. I know, I haven't looked yet. But I could. All right, let me think through this answer. Oh, okay. We were close. I was close about what I said about those 4 minutes in the 11 minutes. So you do start them both at the same time. And when the 7-minute one runs out, you flip it over so that it starts again. And you let the 11 one finish out, and that gives you 4 minutes. So then you could put that against the 7 minutes that are also running, and that means there's 3 minutes left over in the 7-minute one. Wait. Something's not right here. That doesn't work out. At 7 minutes, you flip it again. Seven plus 11. No. No, this was a stupid one because it can't do math. It says 11 plus 3 is 15. Plus 3 is not 15. I get these from the AI. That's why you should maybe not realize. It says you're right. I screwed that up. I still can't picture it in my head. You start them both at the same time, and then at the 7-minute mark, you flip the 7-minute one again. And that means when the 11 one is finished, the 7 one has only been going for 4 minutes. Oh, so you flip it at that point, right? Okay, I get it now. You start them both at the same time. When the 7-minute one runs out, you flip it. You let the 11 one finish, so that's 4 minutes. And by that time, you've had 4 minutes building up in the 7-minute one. So when the 11 one runs out, you flip the 7 one. There's 4 minutes in it. So you have 11 minutes and the 4 minutes left on the 7 minutes, which gives you 15. I would have probably figured it out if I had the hourglasses in front of me. I could play with them by hand. I think it was trying to visualize it in my head that was blocking me. Because now it makes complete sense. Oh, I'm horrible at poker. I'm horrible at bluffing because I'm a terrible liar. But I've won poker before from people thinking I was better at it than I actually was. And they would bet that I was playing like an actual smart player would play, assuming that I would think that way. And so they would lose because they couldn't read how bad I was at poker. But once people play with me for a while, I'm pretty easy to beat. I do like those hidden trader games, though. In fact, there's some online versions. If we ever get enough people, we could play on here, where you have like a couple of players or secret traders are working against the team, but they have to pretend like they're part of the team. I like playing those, and you have to do a lot of bluffing in those, because you have to. If you're one of the bad guys, you have to convince all the other players that you're not, and get them to trust you, so that you can sabotage their games. In fact, I'm probably way better at that than I am at poker. All right, let's see what else we have. That's really it. If I don't get a panel in the next 15 minutes or so, I think I'm going to wrap it up. There's no reason to go very long today without a topic. I haven't been paying attention to social media lately. So that's one reason that I'm kind of without a topic. So sometimes it feels good to not have a topic. Oh, you did? We ended up playing a lot of code names. In fact, they're coming out with a code name. It's a co-op version, and it's kind of a role-playing. There's a role-playing element to it. Called, what's it called? Here, I'll show it. Hang on, I gotta find it. I was looking at it last night. Oh, it was in the Discord app. It wasn't online. But anyway, they're coming out with some new fancy version that's going to be co-op. And you have different roles and missions. As you're revealing the words, you're trying to, each player's like trying to accomplish individual missions in how they do the words. And you have different roles. Oh, by the way, we're not having it next week because RW is out of town. So that gives us like 2 weeks to prepare for Fallout. And if you want to do a practice run or like a learning curve one in Discord one day, we can do that too. And get it ready for prime time for streaming. I've been meeting a lot of people that want to like role play lately. Some of it's in person. I'm meeting a lot of gamers. So perhaps there's potential for carrying some of that over online if I can get something off the ground here. Because I'd love to stream a few games weekly. Especially if it's a continuous, like a storyline. People can get involved in the storyline and tune in to see what happens. And we can have our characters. Like if we really get into our characters and then keep them in a ongoing story that we're able to sustain, I think that can be a good episode, weekly episode. In television, the Atari, are you talking about the console? I remember in television. We had Atari, but one of the neighbors had in television. Oh, in television? It was kind of like Atari. It had cartridges. It just wasn't as popular. They didn't make as many games for it. Atari had all the games. Donkey Kong. Oh, it was 16-bit? We never played it. Even the neighbor that had it, every time we'd go over to his house, we'd play Atari. Pitfall, that was one of my favorites. I was in the Pitfall Club. You take a picture of your TV and you mail it in, and they send you all this swag and a membership card. You have to make a certain score. And the one with the chicken, Freeway, Adventure, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Sword Quest. You had Earthworld, Fireworld. Those were hard. I never did figure those out. Golf, Combat. I don't remember Utopia. They had some Western game too, like gun shootout or gun shoot, gunsling. It was very entertaining. It was just a few pixels on the screen, all of those games. But you could really entertain us, at least my generation, with just a few pixels. Because my friend had the Pong, like before Atari was popular, they had an early version. It was the one with the paddles, and he had the Pong game. And I remember all the neighborhood would go over to his house to play this Pong game or to watch other people play this. And it was just a dot moving on the screen. But the whole neighborhood was lining up to play it. I know, dude. We talk about that a lot on here, how we grew up versus the generations after us. I think we were the last outdoor generation to play outdoors and unsupervised. We kind of did our own thing and made our own fun. We didn't depend on adults to structure our day or provide entertainment for us. Oh. I used to watch the talk shows. That was kind of now you just tune into YouTube to see all the weird people. But back then you'd have to tune into the talk shows. That's what they were. And sometimes the court shows would have like drama people and interesting people. But mainly you could tune into a talk show and always see something, especially the more when they became, he had the whole wave of talk show hosts like Sally Jesse Raphael, Maury Povich, Jerry Springer, Geraldo, Jenny Jones, Martin Downey Jr. for a little while. Of course, Oprah. Oh yeah, remember TV turned off. It had like a shut-off time, and they would play the national anthem, and they'd show the flag, and the fireworks would go off, and then that was the end of TV for the next 4 hours. And then in the morning, they would start up again, and they play the anthem again. Then your local station would do a little bit of local programming to restart TV. So there was a whole time in the middle of the night. If you turned your TV on, there was nothing on it. There was nothing to see. It was dark. And they'd have those, sometimes it was the color bars, and sometimes it was the little old-timey spinny one. I love the color bars. I would actually sit and stare at those for a little while. Yeah, and we had, back then, if you wanted to watch something, you had to be in front of the TV when it was on. There was no recording it, rewinding. There was no VCR, so if you wanted to rewatch a movie, you had to go to the movie cinema and buy another ticket and see it a second time. But sometimes they would play them on TV after a few years. And if you were in front of the TV at the right time, you could see a movie for free with commercials. Oh, just by yourself? That sounds fun though, flying planes into the air. Yeah, I was never not entertained. Like if my parents needed me for they could usually find me doing something on my own to entertain myself in my room or outside somewhere. I was very rarely bored or asking the adults for something to do. Just let me loose and I'll find something. You will see. There you go. And we didn't have a lot of video games. I mean, that came later for us, so we weren't raised on them as kids. Cartoons were only, it was Saturday morning cartoons, and then in the afternoon, some of the local stations would play syndicated cartoons. And so there were only limited blocks out of the week where you could watch cartoons. So it wasn't a lot of time in front of the TV, only when there were certain shows on. There wasn't video games. There wasn't really a lot to keep you indoors. And all the other kids were outside. That's how you met the other kids. You all played outside together or met outside and went to somebody's house. But mostly you stayed outside and you just found things outside to do. Oh, did you have anything like fans? Or we had the window units, but we didn't have anything central till way later. One house we lived in, we had an attic fan, and you'd have to open your windows at night in the summer, and it would suck in the air. It was like instead of blowing out, it would suck in. And if you open your windows, it would suck air in from the outside, and that air would blow across the room all night as it got sucked into this hole in the ceiling. It was loud. It was like a big piece of machinery, like sleeping next to a factory. Yeah. Yeah, anything in the way it would blow, like paper or fabric or stuff. It would if it was in the path of the wind tunnel that it was creating, it would blow it around. And then in one house we had the fancy air conditioners that were digital. You could program the temperature and the time and everything. You almost didn't have to touch it. And it was so quiet, it ran so quietly. Oh, you still have it? We had gas heaters. We had the portable electric heaters that were almost like a toaster, the inside of a toaster. It had the little red wires that would heat up until they glowed. And every bathroom had like this little ceramic heater in the wall. It was gas, and you turn the gas on and you light it with the match while you were in there, and then you turned it off when you were done taking your bath. Because it really was just hot enough to warm up a restroom. What? Oh. So you had to get rid of your wood heater? Dang. For code? Washington State was trying to pass something here. It was on the ballot where they were going to outlaw gas and everything would have to be eventually upgraded to electric. And none of the homes or apartments would have gas, anything anymore. But it didn't pass. Oh, you had a chimney. We never had fireplaces. One house we lived in had a fake fireplace. It had a mantle and a chimney. It might have been a fireplace at one time, but it was just decorative. It didn't have the gas in it to light the fire. My dad had a fireplace in his homes, when they got a new home. And it was nice. I remember sitting in front of the fire, you'd have to put the wood on periodically and it would crack. Make like a big loud pop. But it was cozy sitting with the family around the fire. There was just something like, I don't know, kind of bonding about that. Probably like to this day, I feel the same way about campfires. I love sitting around campfires with people and just telling stories, listening to stories. I do have Indian. I have several Indians. Micmac, Choctaw. My great grandmother was part Choctaw. And then a lot of Cajuns have Micmac from when we were up in Nova Scotia. We did a lot of mingling. And then up here in Seattle, they don't even have air conditioning. In most, like they don't even put them in the building. They don't even build air conditioning into the buildings because there's only a few months out of the year where you even need it. And then so people just buy fans or open windows and ride out those couple of months. But for most of the year, you don't need an air conditioner at all. So they don't even bother putting them in. Oh, Cherokee. Okay. What is Saponi Town? Oh, I'm looking it up now. It says it's a Native American tribe historically based in the Piedmont of North Carolina and Virginia. They spoke a Siouan language related to Tutelo, Biloxi, and Ofo. Okay. Oh, from intertribal warfare and fighting, not just the white people. We had a reservation kind of near where I grew up. It was maybe a couple of parishes over, but they had the big Indian festival every year. And we went one year and it was fascinating. It was like stepping into a completely different world that I didn't even know existed. I loved it. I wish we could have stayed all day. The person I was with had to leave early, but I was so immersed. They did a dance, like a tribal dance, and then they would take you off and they had little stations and you could go to each little station and they would teach you something or tell you a story, or there was some certain type of food you could try. And it was real intimate. They would like just take a few people in at a time and sit in a circle and they would like talk to you. And it wasn't just transactional where you just walk by a booth and look at things. It was very interactive. Oh, cool. Is that a reservation? Is it like your town? I know I remember in Vegas, they had out in the desert, they had this big Indian reservation. And you used to have to drive through it to get to some of the hiking trails. And they had a big kind of like truck stop / convenience store. Oh my God, we would go hang out there all the time. That was one of the most fascinating places in Vegas. I'm not kidding. It was this, I don't know what it was. It was big, but it was like a 7-Eleven, but way big, like 4 or 5 times the size. And there was every type of person you could imagine. I would just walk around for hours looking at the people, listening to them talk, watching the people, and not just Indian people, every type of person in the world. It was like a cultural mixing pot. There was people you wouldn't find anywhere else. And this is Vegas. Vegas itself is already a mixing pot, and they already have the world's weirdest people. So even in Vegas, this place stood out. Well, I'll be honest, I've never even heard of the Sapanis until now. So you're right about that. Yeah, and back home, a lot they do. A lot of the homes are built for like the climate down there. They have big high ceilings, big high doors. They have the shotgun houses. You can open the front door and let the breeze blow all the way to the back of the house because it's just one room after another, narrow. Are they? I don't know. We only have like maybe 3 or 4, perhaps 5 main Indian tribes in Louisiana. So I don't know all the but a lot of our language, like the word bayou is Indian. A lot of our language is Indian influenced. A lot of the place names. And they have the casinos there. The Indians can have their own casinos, and they're very popular because they don't have a lot of land casinos. So everyone goes to the Indian casinos. They're like resorts. Riding a horse? Well, I must not have that part of Indian in me because I tried to ride a horse once and it was a disaster. I hated it. And the horses make me nervous because you have to be able to connect with the animal. It's a vibe thing, and I didn't know how to do that, and it was not comfortable with me on it. I was not comfortable with it. It kept not bucking, but like going up and down, and it would ride fast, and I kept feel like it was going to throw me off. Every second I was on that horse, I was waiting to get thrown off. That's how paranoid I was. And I know the horse could tell. And I don't know how to control a horse. I don't know how to like make it do what I want it to do with what you call it, the reins. Oh God, you're very brave. You're way more brave than I was. Oh, you want to- well, I guess 1 out of 2. Oh Lord, we're almost a bit longer than I thought. She's kind of rock singer adjacent, would you say? Like acoustic folk type music, but I think you've played rock before. Oh. She's in a band, or she performs. Okay, so we have a rock singer. The Renaissance Rogue. Did you play and sing or just sing? Would they hid it from you? Like, we don't want these kids to know that they're Indian or have part Indian. I think it was kind of common growing up. In fact, even today, it still is to meet people that have Indian background or Indian blood in them. Oh, I remember arrowheads. Yeah, we used to find them. We even took a field trip. Louisiana has like one of the oldest archaeological sites in the country. And we took a field trip there and they let us dig for arrowheads. And we found a whole bunch. There was like this, it was just like the archaeologist. It was like a plot of dirt and it was roped off with the ropes. And we had these little shovels and we could go get in the dirt and just squat in the dirt and dig and just get as many as we could find. Yeah, I used to have a rock collection. It wasn't very big. I collected interesting rocks. So rock really had to stand out and look unusual for me to collect it. I didn't collect just rocks just to have rocks. And in that collection was some arrowheads that I either picked up or found randomly or as part of this field trip. I kept all of that in a little box. It's probably still in some attic somewhere. And turquoise jewelry too, probably. Silver and turquoise. I remember going to New Mexico as a kid on a vacation. We were going to Colorado, but we passed through New Mexico because my parents had a friend that lived there. So we stayed at their house. And I think we went to Carlsbad Caverns. There were a lot of bats. Probably the first cave I've ever been in. Oh yeah, we found them all the time. It seemed like everybody had an arrowhead. Anytime you went to somebody's house, like one of your friends' house, they all had arrowheads. All right. Okay, well, I'll keep it going a little while longer. See if we get a panel, and then I'll tie it up, wrap it up, roll it up. What's a Clovis point? Oh, cool. You were just out walking. Sure, you can come on if you want. We'll get a conversation going about something. I don't know. There's just there's not a lot of things catching my interest lately, my attention. What do I think of Spinoza's determinism? Um, I don't think anything of it. I don't know if I've ever thought about it. Determinism in general, I'm skeptical of, except some cases like genetic, the physical, chemical, biological. I think there's some determinism there. Spinoza's determinism is the philosophical view that everything in the universe, including human actions, is determined by preceding causes is in an unbroken chain of events. The first thing I think about it is that's an interesting claim. How would he test or verify any of it? You would have to show the entire chain of unbroken events. And you can if you look hard enough, I mean, you're going to find that. But that doesn't mean that free will and chance are illusory. It seems more like a philosophical model or a conceptual model than anything that it was derived from experience and testing and revising. So that's what I think about it. It would be hard for me to adopt it as a mental model of reality. Because it doesn't explain things like free will. And it doesn't illuminate chance enough for me to dismiss chance and randomness. And random could be just random to us, because I'm sure what appears random, like the whole universe from the Big Bang, is a series of reactions to like events. So if you look hard enough, even the randomness is a response to something, probably. But on the practical level, on the level that we live life as humans, there is something called randomness, that there are things that appear as randomness. Mammoths. Wow. And that happened right here in America. Was that in New Mexico? They had mammoths in New Mexico? Wow. Um, they have. How sacrilegious and disrespectful. Did they know it was a dig site? Wow, look at these arrowheads. Is this the arrowheads? Look at these. Clovis points explained. Man. Yeah, that's nothing like what we found. We'd find the little tiny ones. They were flaked. Yeah, more like that. Well, you know what I'm going to do, folks? I am going to, I think Moose, he still has his radio going. It's been going like nonstop. So I'm going to put him on, and then I'll go do a quick intermission and come back. There you go. Enjoy Moose. And we'll be right back.
Difference. Hey, they want results, but they dodge the grind. Want the glow, but avoid the fire. I embraced what they run away from. That's the reason I became one. You can't fake what this takes to build. If discipline ain't something you can't instill. Every rep, every test, every fall, I'm turned into strength. I can't lose it all. Sometimes you prove it right. Then you act like they saw the light. But I didn't need that validation. I built this without their affirmation. I don't hate, I just see it clear. Most people trapped by comfort and fear. But I stepped when they wouldn't go. That's the difference they'll never know. Stand alone, stand strong. Different path. All alone.
Okay. Or I can. Either way, I can wrap up too. I mean, don't feel like you have to come on. If you I mean, prioritize the animals for sure. Because I'll be out tomorrow as well. Probably not tonight because I have something to do, but tomorrow I'll be here at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and then I usually make it out in the evening as well. So there'll be plenty of time. Oh, hey, Ricardo. Oh, okay. Ren might live stream. So check her out. If you haven't liked and subbed, give her some numbers. Yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up in a few minutes. It's a quiet day today. We had our game night last night. We had a lot of fun. We play code names. So if you want to do more of that with us, join the Discord. That's where a lot of the fun happens. Also, if you're local, we're doing game nights. So get with me on that. You're invited to that. There's actually several gaming groups around town. Yeah, that sounds good, Ricardo. I'll be out tomorrow and probably tomorrow evening as well. All right. Well, do I have anything to wrap up with? Not really. Let me see who's out. Oh, Zat's out. I'll send you to Zat's. He does open panels as well. Why is everyone insane? I don't think everyone is insane. I think very few people are insane. I think people are way more sane than we give them credit for. But that's also why I get both confused and fascinated at some of the things they believe. But believing weird things does not make you insane. Like, you can find probably odd beliefs in any of us if you look closely enough. I'm sure I believe some weird things. I am part of the 17% that trusts the government. So that's probably weird for a lot of people. 17% seems low. But at the same time, it feels like a sane belief. So right. And sometimes that's the only place to go. It's crazy. You have to go a little bit crazy to keep from going insane. Oh, I talk to myself all the time. I talk to the pets. I talk to my plant. I talk to whatever living thing is listening, including my own self. And I've worked in mental hospitals before, inpatient. So I have a very clear baseline of what actual insanity is. And if any of you were actually insane, the chances that y'all be sitting here typing on YouTube every day like you are is pretty low. Although I'm not going to say we don't have our very, 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 very bizarre oddballs on here typing away. And I'm not a clinician. I'm not a diagnostician. I'm not in a position to diagnose anybody's sanity or insanity anyway. I just know what makes sense to me, what doesn't make sense to me, what seems probable, what seems less probable. So I can help evaluate beliefs according to those criteria. You think so? That it's all delusion underneath? I'm it's not all science and logic and reason. I'm willing to grant that. So whatever is not that is probably something more imaginative than not. But that still doesn't mean it's not invaluable for our functioning. You think so? There's a mental health guy. He's in that may come on the channel soon and talk about mental health. He is a clinician, so he might have. I'm sure he will have another perspective to give. How do you know your perception's accurate if it matches reality? If the mental model of reality that you're building it, using that to build, works. Because ultimately that's the point of having these models in the first place, is that they're an accurate guide to reality, so that whatever you're trying to do works and doesn't keep bumping up against reality. And they're predictive, so you can use them to kind of plan some kind of future with, based on what you know currently. And I'm always trying to update my model. Ricardo, you should. Do they have I'm sure they do in the UK. Do they have peers or something similar? Because you could see if they have a peer counseling training program and start getting involved with that, or even volunteering. That's how I started. I volunteered for at least a year before I got my first peer job, maybe even a couple of years. So volunteering is a good way. And then if they have a actual peer training program, you might be able to get into that. But even just coming on here when you do and sharing your story, I think can be valuable. I would love to do more mental health content, especially mental health literacy and basic mental health 101. I think people have a lot of different ways of seeing the mental health system, which may be holding them back from actually accessing care if they need it or support. And I get demystifying mental health. That's the kind of topics I would like to do. I would like to bring mental health down to earth and put it in the hands of ordinary people as something completely normal that people can benefit from. I'm really happy with this one. It's a Shure. I got it at Best Buy. It was one of their main brands. So it should be pretty easy to find that or something similar. But I had a Yeti before that, and the cord broke. So far, this is the one I think I prefer to all of them. For the kind of stuff we do on YouTube, it's perfect. I mean, I'm not a professional podcaster yet, or a fancy podcaster. Although they do have a podcast studio here that I'd like to start using. I just need to find some in-person guest to interview and then learn the software. Yeah, Rode is another one that I've heard was good, although I haven't used a Rode myself. But you would benefit from a new mic in particular because you have those audio issues, and plus that you're one of the people the birds come from, so that could all be mic related or Bluetooth. All right, I think that's it for me today. So take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do it again tomorrow. And have a good rest of your Thursday. We're almost at the week's end, the weekend. So I'll see you then.